Welcome back to our local to global series here on the Random Wrestling Review. We're playing TEW 2020, and of course, we set up our next show, RWR Overload, at the end of the last episode. So we're carrying on straight from there. Before we get to the show, though, I did promise last time an update on our rankings, and so this is where we currently sit. As you can see, Blitzkrieg obviously champion at the top, but now the two kind of closest contenders to him now are James Storm and Dave Bautista, both with 3 points after Sean Stasiak lost against Blitzkrieg last month and now sits at the bottom of the list, having had all of his points taken away from him because of that loss. We've got a bunch of guys on 2 points, 6 different wrestlers: Dog Rose, ECMO, Ace Steel, CW Anderson, and Buddy Wayne, all on 2 points. And then Rocco Rock, Johnny Grunge, Charlie Haas, Kid Chaos, Ed Moretti, all on 1 point. And I think this show is going to mix things up a little bit. I've already had a little think about what's going to come after this. So hopefully today, for the first time in must be a good 4 or 5 episodes, we will get 2 different events into the same show, and that will take us up to the end of 1997. So another kind of, I guess, sort of milestone for this series. So let's go straight to it. And before we do that, I will just quickly check. Yeah, we're all good there. Let's go to it in this show, and we start with 67 fans. We're not pushing that like our record very much at the moment. But 67 is fine, I suppose. We start anyway with Ace Steel challenging Blitzkrieg and Sean Stasiak to a match tonight with a mystery partner, and it's accepted by Blitzkrieg and Sean Stasiak. So this is basically the idea going into the show, is that the only match that's been announced as the main event anyway is ECMO and Public Enemy against Dave Bautista and Bad Crew. But Ace Steel then comes out and kind of makes this challenge for an impromptu match tonight in the new main event, which will see him and a mystery partner take on Blitzkrieg and Sean Stasiak. This got a segment rating of 31. Apparently, Ace Steel struggled when going off script, but Sean Stasiak improvised well throughout the segment. I mean, obviously, Steel does the majority of the talking here, but the game's not to know that. So Stasiak's kind of saved this angle, and Stasiak continues to be probably our best all-round performer. Blitzkrieg very poor when trying to improvise dialogue, and Bruce Hart remains a really poor road agent. And again, I've got that note of Blitzkrieg is gimmick is getting stale. And I think it's time I made a note of that and changed it in time for the next event, because that's the second time I've got that note. So then the opening match of the night, James Storm defeats Charlie Haas in a bit of a disappointing match, this one. A 22 rated match, Storm a 24, Charlie Haas a 19 rating here. But Storm, importantly from this match, the significant factor is that James Storm gets his 4th point in terms of the number 1 contendership, and could, depending on other results, become the number 1 contender going forward. Then we had ECMO and the Public Enemy versus Dave Bautista and Bad Crew, the originally announced main event of this show, and a segment rating of 27, as this feud between the Public Enemy and Bad Crew continues to deliver in terms of segment ratings, even though Rose and Dog are pretty poor in the ring. You see here they got a 19 and a 20. Rocco Rock, though, a 30, Johnny Grunge a 26, Batista a 24, and ECMO a 25. And this wasn't bad. I was pretty happy with this one. A 27 rated, and the baby faces come out on top with ECMO and Public Enemy getting the victory. The next match is Buddy Wayne versus CW Anderson. Obviously, we've got Buddy Wayne on a journey trying to get back to the top of the promotion that he held the title for the first, I don't know, what was it, 16 months of the promotion's existence. Both men did an in-ring performance of 24, and a segment rating of 25 is the result. 11 minutes, 29 seconds. And Buddy Wayne gets his 3rd point in pursuit of a title shot. Then we have an angle before the main event, which sees Ace Steel introducing his partner, Barry Buchanan. A segment rating here of 29. I've just realized once again I didn't check that Buchanan was a heel prior to debuting him. Let's hope that was as hoped. It got an initial rating of great, his bodyguard gimmick though, so that's really good. And Ace Steel worked the crowd well. So Ace Steel's proving to be a really decent promo and talker in front of the crowd, so that's really good. Segment rating of 29. They then go into battle in the main event against Sean Stasiak and Blitzkrieg and get the victory with a segment rating of 30 here. Match went 16 minutes and 32 seconds, and Ace Steel pinned the current RWR North West champion Blitzkrieg while using the ropes for leverage. Blitzkrieg, an in-ring performance of 35. That's the best individual performance I think we've seen from any wrestler in any match so far in this company. Stasiak a 31. Buchanan in his debut at 22. That's not too bad. And he's still at 27. That's fine as well. And Buchanan was actually off his game, so he's got the potential to be better than that. A segment rating of 30, a really very good main event, results in an overall rating of 29. I think we've just set another new record in terms of our best rated show so far. And yeah, I'm very pleased with some of the ratings there. In particular, Barry Buchanan's new has been introduced, and his gimmick has gotten a really good initial rating. And yeah, Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan get the victory in the main event. So in terms of this, first of all, Blitzkrieg once again has to be praise for a great performance. I think we're going to do the same for Sean Stacey, or at least compliment on a good performance. And Ace still deserves it as well. All the main event performers basically were good here and did their job, and we're happy with that. So that was Overload, a show that, the name of which was just dire, but there you go. I didn't have a clue what to call it. I can't remember if we were already up to 6 here, but we are now, so that's good news. And financially, we should be fine with that as well come the end of the month. So we're going to quickly advance ultimately to the end of the current month and into December of 1997. So we are now leapfrogging over the Montreal Screwjob. Not that it will, almost certainly not that it will happen in this universe. So an alternative universe here where the Montreal Screwjob never took place. The Monday Night War, in truth, has never really swung in WCW's favor because the game start point was September 1995, which was obviously before it was. Yeah, it was obviously after, but it was before Nitro launched. So basically, the idea is that this game is supposed to be used for people who want to play out the Monday Night Wars from the very beginning. So as a consequence, there was never any kind of sense that WCW were winning that war against WWF. And so it's resulted in some very interesting stuff in terms of rosters and people being champion and goodness knows what else, which I'm sure we'll get further updates on as we go through this series. This, of course, is episode 17 of the series, and if you've been enjoying it, then please give us a subscribe. That really helps the channel. And I know that, the people that do watch this series, not that there are huge amounts of them, but the people who do watch it seem to be really into it. So thank you for those people who have been watching it. Please give it a like. It does help reach other people, and I think it's kind of it's a bit of a low profile one, this one, because obviously we haven't got huge amounts of stars or big names. We're not. The company obviously is not going to appeal to anyone because nobody knows because it's completely made up. And so yeah, it's always been a bit of likely to be a low profile one, and I'm pleased with that. I'm happy. I'm enjoying making it, but it's great. It'd be great if more people watched and kind of followed along and enjoyed the series. So yeah, please give it a like and a subscribe, and keep following along because I do intend to keep up this pace as it is at the moment. I also want to make a quick apology for the sound quality on the last episode. I'm aware that it wasn't as good as usual. Not that it's the absolute best sound quality, but last week, no, the last episode, sorry, was particularly poor. Now, what we've done with that last show is kind of create a situation where we've now got 4 different wrestlers on 3 points. So we already had Dave Batista on 3 points, but ECMO, as part of the 6-man tag match that he won, is now on 3 points. So is Buddy Wayne after his victory in singles competition. And we also have got Ace Steel on 3 points because he obviously was in the main event and won the tag team match with Barry Buchanan. So there are 4 men with 3 points, but there's one man with 4 points, and that is James Storm. So he is going to headline the next show for the title against Blitzkrieg. It's going to be Blitzkrieg versus James Storm in the main event of our Christmas show. And I'm wondering whether or not now I should be referencing the fact that this is a Christmas show in the event name. I will have a think about that and sort it out in just a moment. As the game completes November 1997, we move into December. Anything in particular here in the news? Doesn't look like there was anything major. Oh, WCW World War III 1997. Let's have a look at that. Steve Williams won a 10 wrestler battle royal. And yeah, so this is the second year in a row where they've done a 10 wrestler battle royal with seemingly lesser participants in the main event, above Hulk Hogan versus Arn Anderson for the world title, which got an 86, and Randy Savage winning a 30 wrestler battle royal to win World War III. So I don't know why this keeps happening. The game's obviously got some kind of weird AI thing where it's making it do that. But Hogan retains the world title and Randy Savage wins the World War III. Maybe the mega powers are going to explode again in the near future. So, yeah, we need to come up with another show name, which is, as everybody knows, really not my strength. Before I go any further, I want to see what I've done in previous years for December. So it was three-way last year, and the year before that was First Christmas. So I do want to reference Christmas, I think, in the show name for this one because I just think it makes sense. So let's do something really basic. Christmas Chaos is our show this year. Um, Again, though, I'm not going to make this an annual thing. It's just a special. And we are doing our shows now on Friday, of course. So that's where we're going. Christmas Chaos for our December show. As I said, I've already kind of plotted out the what's going to take place at this event. Don't think I've got any new morale issues, which is good. So yeah, let's move on to the next player-controlled show then. Now that we've done that, yeah, so that's going to be the main event: Blitzkrieg versus James Storm for the title. But underneath that, we're going to have a rematch between Public Enemy and Bad Crew as their kind of feud continues. We're going to give Bull Buchanan his debut in the company in singles action at least. He obviously made his debut last time. And we're going to hold the first ever in the company's history four-way match as Dave Batista, Ace Steel, Buddy Wayne, and ECMO, all four of the men with 3 wins apiece, will face each other to become the new number one contender. So one of those men will be the number one contender going into 1998. 1998 was a big year for me personally watching professional wrestling. It was for me one of the most kind of efficient booking years in WWF's history. Like the way that they used very small amounts of wrestlers in their main events because that's all they had um, in the company. They didn't have a lot of main eventers at the beginning of the year, and then Shawn Michaels obviously got injured. But the efficiency of the matches that they used that year, I always find quite astounding. And it was a big year for me because it got right back into professional wrestling after having a small break in '97. So we're kind of this whole period really from, I mean, actually I started watching in '94, but 1995 all the way through to sort of 2002 is really for me the years where I was just absolutely, deep into professional wrestling in a way that I don't think I've ever really. I said I've never really returned to. I guess I have because I'm doing things like this. I'm doing this series. I'm doing the YouTube channel. We've got the podcast going. But just in terms of how much I enjoyed watching wrestling, I've never been into it as much as I was back then. So right, here we go into the next show, and we have got a lot to put into this one. I haven't got any angles as such that I've thought of. Let me just check the storylines. So we've got these 3 stories. Obviously, ECMO and Batista will be in one match together, and we've got Bad Crew entering RWR. Blitzkrieg against James Storm. Okay, so I'm pleased with what we've got there. So we're going to start with a one-on-one match, and it is going to be Bull Buchanan, not Bull Buchanan, Barry Buchanan, not Bull Buchanan, of course. Barry Buchanan against Wellington Wilkins Jr. So I don't intend this to be long. I think we're going to give Barry Buchanan not an open match. We're going to make him a decisive win, pinfall finish, 7 minutes. We'll work the crowd as well. It's all good. Then we're going to have the tag team match. Bad Crew and Public Enemy. Both these teams still kind of at war with one another. And we'll make it 11 minutes, which is probably a bit too long for either Dog or Rose, probably both of them. What am I going to do here? Am I going to have? We haven't had a decisive win in their previous match, and the 2 singles matches also were not decisive. I think we're going to give the victory here to the Bad Crew. Um, yeah, I think that will do. Who's going to lose? Grunge and maybe a tainted. No, let's not have a tainted win. Let's just have Bad Crew win this one. Yes, we're going to continue despite the warnings that once again one of the bad crew is not able to go 11 minutes in a match. They're not my best signings. I've got to be honest. I was sort of hypnotized by this tag team that kept coming up in my search for new wrestlers, and they were just there, and it just felt like they had to be signed, and I have no idea why now really. So let's do the four-way match because this is a big one. I don't want it to be elimination. Is there a is there a non-elimination version of this match? I remember how because we had three, so we had the triple threat there. Yeah, I don't want this to be elimination, so let's yeah, one versus one fall, four-way singles, match rules, one fall. That's all we need to do. So this is what we're going to do here then. So it's going to be, as we said, Dave Batista, Ace Steel, Buddy Wayne, and ECMO to determine the new number one contender to the world title. We're going to make this a bit of a longer match, 16 minutes. I think, so the winner is going to be Dave Batista. He's going to win this one. He's going to pin, he's going to pin ECMO. He's going to pin ECMO. And also during the match, there's going to be interference, which is going to prevent a still from winning from Sean Stasiak. So Sean Stasiak basically going to prevent a still from getting the victory. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make this a storytelling match as well. So Batista's going to win. ECMO's going to be the one who gets pinned. Ace Steel, though, is going to be attacked by Sean Stasiak, which prevents him from winning. And Buddy Wayne's not going to be involved in the finish in any way. And then also in the main event, of course, Blitzkrieg will defend the title, and he will successfully defend that title. Again, this is going to be a bit longer than usual. I think we're going to go for a pinfall. We do a flash pinfall. And we'll also go for a slow build so that they don't get too tired whilst having this one. So those are the matches, but I do want to. So I want to first of all create an angle here where Ace Steel before the main event basically says that tonight still says tonight's match shouldn't take place. He pinned the champ last month, should be number one contender, should get shot. That's what we'll say. Should get shot by default, basically. So he's referencing the fact that in the tag team match last month, um, he he's referencing the fact that last month he defeated Blitzkrieg, and therefore he should be the number one contender anyway. But obviously, we know that in the Random Wrestling Review, that's not how it works. We've got our own rankings system, which is based on points. And at the moment, Ace still does not have the most points. James Storm does, which is why he's the number one contender. And Steele shares the same amount of points as Batista, Buddy Wayne, and ECMO. So he's going to say that beforehand. Now, is there anything else I want to do on this show? Because I'm aware that there's sort of 5 or 6 guys we haven't got in the, on the night. We've still got Ed Moretti in our rankings, but I think, and I haven't made this for absolutely certain yet, but I still think it's likely he's going to be released because I've kind of run out of things for him to do, to be honest. So whether we want anything else to take place on this show, and I think I'm comfortable with the wrestlers that are not on the show. We've got Stasiak getting involved in one match, so he's kind of covered. So the only people we haven't got involved in the show are C.W. Anderson, Charlie Haas, and Kid Chaos. And I don't really mind them not being on the show. So I think we're okay with what we've got at the moment. No, don't want that. Don't know why I pressed that button. Everything looks fine. So I think it is time for us to go to. Oh, hang on. No, I've decided on one other thing. and I'm going to remove Blitzkrieg from this. But I also want, after the main event, something to happen here. Now, is James Storm going to attack? Is James Storm going to attack Blitzkrieg here? Just going to put that before I'm going to just check the finish here. So I've got, yeah, quick, clean flash pinfall. So basically here, James Storm tells Blitzkrieg he was lucky and he will win the title, or he won't get lucky next time. Let's just say that. So basically, James Storm saying that Blitzkrieg may have won, but he was lucky to get the victory, and Blitzkrieg will tell Storm will tell Blitzkrieg that next time he won't get so lucky. That just gives us a little bit more length, another angle on the show which we didn't have, and I'm tempted to start a storyline here between those two. Not that I've got any really firm plans for this story, but just I thought I'd put in the breadcrumb, and if it leads to something, it leads to something. If it doesn't, then it doesn't matter. We just move on from it. But yeah, this is kind of, I didn't want James Storm to be beaten, in any kind of dominant fashion or any kind of, you know, um, decisive way. It just had to be a case of James Storm losing the match. Sorry, Blitzkrieg winning the match and James Storm kind of having an out, which was that Blitzkrieg beat him, but with a roll up, and so it wasn't like he decisively beat him. So anyway, that's Christmas Chaos. Let's do this show as well then. We have got 71 people in the house for this one. I think that's a joint top, or equaled our best so far. The opener, Barry Buchanan defeats Wellington Wilkins Jr. in 7 minutes and 12 seconds by pinfall with an axe kick. Buchanan, an in-ring performance of 28, which meant the segment rating was 25, despite Wilkins Jr. sort of staying at the level he's at. But I mean, Wilkins Jr. might have to go soon as well, because he's not been happy with the booking that he's had in the last few months. So I don't want his kind of morale bringing down the morale of others around him. But a really positive start for Barry Buchanan in terms of his first big match, or first singles match anyway, with the company. Then we had the Bad Crew versus Public Enemy tag team match, segment rating of 25. This one went 10:41 and dog pin Johnny Grunge. As you can see, both members of Bad Crew are 19 rated performance. Johnny Grunge a 27 and Rocco 31. Might have to flip the script on Bad Crew here, because I had originally thought that these two would go into some kind of feud with Blitzkrieg and Buddy Wayne, as was the original story that I put in kind of in the stories bit. And the idea would be that both will get a title shot against Blitzkrieg at a certain point. They have still now both got 3 wins as a consequence of this match, but yeah, it's more. I'm now not convinced that they can hold their own in those matches, so I'm not sure I want to do it. But anyway, we'll figure that out. Then after this, we get a segment where Ace Steel complains about the fact that he's even in a 4-way match tonight for the #1 contendership. He says that he pinned Blitzkrieg on last month's show in the tag team match, main event of that one, and he should get the title shot by default. And it's ridiculous that he's in this match. Segment rating of 23. Steel's been better than this in other angles, so it's a little bit disappointing, but a 23 anyway. The match then, a 19 rated match, and that's poor. Let's look into this a little bit. Dave Bautista wins when he pins ECMO. During the match, we also had Sean Stasiak run in attack Ace Steel to continue their feud. This obviously also progressed the Batista-ECMO feud as well. Batista had an in-ring performance of 22, Steel at 27, Wayne at 24, ECMO at 23, so nothing obvious there. Batista seemed off his game. It looks like the match was just a little bit too long, and that the bout dragged in the middle. Maybe the fact that nobody really could steer this one was the problem. So disappointing actually, given everything. Segment rating only of 19, but Batista wins to become the #1 contender as we go into 1998. All that's left then is the main event. which is Blitzkrieg versus James Storm. Blitzkrieg makes defense number 4 of the RWR North West title, but only a segment rating of 23. And again, Blitzkrieg hits the 35 for his own performance. James Storm at 24. I can only assume that once again, there's just a lack of either man being able to guide the match. And again, maybe we just need to make our matches in general shorter and put more of them on the events, because yeah, whenever the match length goes over 15 minutes, these guys do tend to struggle. So I think that's just a consequence of the audience. Our target audience is a family audience. We are a family entertainment show, ostensibly, even though I've not really kind of paid that any thought as we've gone through, and so that might be the big problem. And then afterwards, James Storm tells Blitzkrieg that he was lucky tonight, and the next time they meet, he won't get lucky again. So this just sort of starts the story, or continues the story. Obviously, the main event actually started the story between these two. And we get a segment rating here of 21. Again, not particularly great. James Storm, perhaps not as good on the mic as I'd have liked. Didn't do well without script to follow. So we still increased our popularity in one region. The overall rating was to 20, was a 23, but a little bit disappointing. Well, not a little bit disappointing, quite a lot disappointing. In fairness, I'm going to give Blitzkrieg another compliment. I'm going to compliment Barry Buchanan because he was really good in his match. He looked a different quality. And I think I will go. I've done one of the two members of Public Enemy. So I did Rocco Rock before. I'm going to do Johnny Grunge this time because they both performed pretty. They've been performing pretty consistently well, actually. So I think a sort of word of compliment towards him is the right thing to do. But that for us, in terms of RWR, is the end of our year. We've effectively finished the year. So we'll very quickly advance to the end of the current month, which will obviously be the end of the current year. And we are going to, in our next episode, be going into 1998 with a whole world of new stuff to think about and a whole array of, you know, new matches to book for that first show. We've got some sort of solid things in place. We know, for example, that the new number one contender is Dave Bautista. We may choose to do a title match in the first show of the year, but we may not. We may go in a different direction. I haven't really given that any thought. We've also got the continued feuds between Batista and ECMO, Ace Steel and Sean Stasiak, Public Enemy and Bad Crew. We've created the Blitzkrieg James Storm feud in this most recent event. We've introduced Barry Buchanan in his first singles match. There is quite a bit to do, and quite a bit going forward that we've got to use and to take advantage of. So I think plenty to think about now, and try and frame what it is going to be that we do in January in our first show of the new year. But that is, as I said, that's about it. All the time we've got for today. As I said earlier on, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Also, this YouTube is mainly a kind of sister channel, or I don't know what you would call it, but is affiliated with our podcast, the Random Wrestling Review podcast, where we've done over 170 episodes now of our main show, including just recently we did a full review, over 3 hours of WWE Survivor Series 1997. Well worth checking out. Also, every single WrestleMania that's ever taken place, we've done a review of all of them. We've done reviews of shows from ECW, of AEW, AWA, NXT, TNA, WCW. Pretty much across the spectrum of mainstream North American wrestling of the last 40 years. So, yeah, check it out. There's bound to be something in there that you will enjoy, whether it's a show that you really loved from your youth, or a show that you really hated that you want to hear us also take a dump on as well. Yeah, just check it out because I'm sure there will be something of interest for you. For me, for now, that is all. As I said, I've got time for, because we try and make these episodes about half an hour long. But we'll be back next time with January 1998, the new year, the end of year awards, and a brand new show to begin the new year. So we'll catch you next time.